try to present. The president also recently stated, this may be more than a few weeks ago, right, less than a month ago, that he wanted to bring in more than 650,000 people, somewhere around that number, from China to come to another contradiction, right? To something where he's pushing a hardline immigration, stance, but at the same time, for certain actors, for certain people, he's seemingly waiving that idea and saying, well, for you, in the Silicon Valley, in the tech worker, for you in the university system, or at least some of the universities, right? For you in certain areas, in certain sectors of society, we're not even talking about the low-skilled, low-end. We're talking about people we would think would be the educated, or at least would be college educated at the upper end. We seem to be making allowances for people in those areas to bring in much more foreign workers. And because I know a lot about, in this particular tech sector, about the foreign workers, for a lot of the people there, right? What ends up happening when they get into a tech company is they have to be sponsored, right? Unlike an American person, if you don't like the working environment, you can leave, you can transfer, go to another company, right? And you can also demand, comparable wages and all. They're supposed to be paying, they're supposed to be paying foreign workers comparable wages. The foreign workers ultimately end up in a position, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them end up in a position that is virtually, they're still getting paid, but it's virtually like slave labor. They can't move, right? They can't make demands of their employers, or Google, or Meta, or Amazon, if things go bad, because then they can just simply pull the H-1B visa and they're being sent back, to the other side. I know people who are like, hey, wait a minute, I've got the good skill set, I'm just being, and they're not me, but they're being pushed out for someone who comes in at a lower salary than them, or from another country. So I'm just saying that the president himself is a barrel of contradictions, right? And some of the things that he says and some of the things he does, on one hand, that we see largely, or at least what I've seen largely being targeted at people who are primarily on the lower end of the socioeconomic income bracket, but not only those people on the socioeconomic income bracket. And even, back when he was deporting people over speeches they may make on university campuses, versus this whole other side of him that is willing to cater to what some people would refer to as the tech oligarchs, right? Or people in high places who allow more H-1B visas and more people to immigrate from other countries. And these countries aren't even primarily Europe. Let's say it's primarily India, or China, or South Asia, or East Asia into the country. And so for me, I think that's something we have to think about. That the president himself got a lot of views that are that are off the wall, off the mark, but somehow for certain people he'll turn on a dime and he'll allow the very thing that he's saying that he would get to happen. And that just seems to be a relationship with those individuals. That's what I want to say. Is that guy from Shark Tank, you might know what I'm thinking about. I can't think of his name, but one of the guys from Shark Tank. He was on a CNN panel. I happened to watch the CNN panel. And he was defending the H-1B visa, right? And he's not the only one defending H-1B visa. I'm not against it, by the way. I'm pro-immigration and the general idea. But he was muttering the waters by trying to confuse H-1B visas. Right? And he was doing it on purpose. I've seen some of these people that in the tech field, they understand that the one visa is the one for those really high-performing people who start companies, right? We already have a visa for that, right? They start saying H-1B, meaning that they're going to get the next person who's going to start up the next big tech company in the United States of America. So I think that when we look at this whole immigration discussion, outside of the president, we have to look at what some of these CEOs and these different corporations and companies, what their wishes are and what they want, and how the president, and even in some of the universities, how the president is willing to change his position or make allowances, so to speak, for those people, to get people who be brown or who are not white in those particular areas, sectors, and industries who are still black. So that's all I have to say.
So I'll just point out that, and I don't know whether your comments were a direct response to Steve's. He was talking about unskilled versus skilled, and obviously Silicon Valley and the medical profession, etc. Those are all skilled immigrants. We do have a shortage, for example, of nurses in this country, and we actively recruit nurses from the Philippines and elsewhere. he's looking back at a society that doesn't exist today, or maybe he's right that society does exist, where Americans were willing to take jobs, hardworking, menial type, unskilled labor jobs, and they don't. But they can't, he argues, because the unskilled folks that are coming into the country. But I don't think it's just unskilled. If you look at the medical profession, as David points out, the technology professions, many of those individuals are not native-born Americans. Is that because they're taking the jobs of native-born Americans, or there just not enough people who are interested in filling those positions? A friend of mine has a pretty important position at Amazon. He's an American citizen, but he was born in Belarus. And he finds that the people he works with are all Asian and not born in the United States, as he wasn't born in the United States. How do you account for that? So I think we have to be a little careful about broad strokes. And remember, this original discussion was not about specifics. And I know there are people who are concerned about folks here illegally, and I agree with that. But it's about the general tone of this administration, of this president. He's got an anti-immigration bent. This is indisputable. And he talks about shithole countries. Whoever heard of a president of the United States publicly, maybe privately, who knows what they say privately or think privately, but he's representing you and me. And he's referring to these other countries as shitholes. Maybe some of them are, I don't know. But is this something that a president should be saying? And we don't want people from those shithole countries to come here? And I guess Steve can date his folks back to the Mayflower days, or close to. But many of us, we only go back a generation or two or three. And as he was speaking, I thought about my family. The people who came here they came here because they were fleeing religious persecution. They weren't vetted.
There are 7 keys to the great gate, being 8 in 1 and 1 in 8. First, let the body of thee be still, bound by the cerements of will. Corpse rigid, thus thou mayst abort the fidget babes that tease the thought. Next, let the breath rhythm be low, easy, regular, and slow, so that thy being be in tune with the great sea's Pacific swoon. Third, let thy life be pure and calm, swayed softly as a windless palm. Fourth, let the will to live be bound to the one love of the profound. Fifth, let the thought divinely free from sense, observe its entity.
There's just stories. You're not hearing anything like that in
Every
content like
thought
these.
that springs in They wanted to keep these prisoners, and they passed them along in apartments and buildings.
And basically, hello.
Do you support Palestinian or Israeli?
We want.
We support. Well, read the
we
title.
support the Zionists. We support the Zionists.
We support Palestinians. We don't support Palestine.
Exactly.
Okay, I got a quick question.
Go ahead.
You can support the people, but not support the government.
Mm-hmm.
No, not the government. I support the people, not the nation, not the concept of a land. Though.
Like, I don't got any problem with Israeli people, but
So
I got
who do you
a problem with the
support, bro?
government.
Do you support what happened on October 7th?
And you supporting what happened before 7 October?
I'm asking you, do you support what happened?
And I'm asking you too. You support us.
But you don't know what happened before 7th of October. Why are you
You want
okay?
to answer questions? Listen, you see the green bean that gives us the privilege to ask questions. If you want to be on the panel, you can answer the questions. If you don't, we can play your stupid game. You can go down, come up, go down, come up. And whatever you want. You can keep sending me chili peppers all you want. I know it's spicy in here, but I'll bring you back up. Would you like to come up? Okay. Do you support what happened October 7th?
Nah, I'm talking with you like.
Do you support what happened October 7th?
Fuck you. Why not?
Exactly, your mom. Okay, thank you. So we can keep doing that game. Up and down, up and down. It's like a fucking rolling.
No, at some point you will not be able to bring him up again.
Yo, this guy's tweaking.
I can easily bring him up. Watch this. I just have to turn off. He keeps sending me chili peppers. Like, I like peppers. Like, you're not insulting me. Okay, go ahead. Come on up. Come on up, Bubba.
No.
Do you support what happened October 7th?
If I find you, I'll kill you.
Okay. So do you support what happened
Kill
October
you.
7th?
Kill you. You know what I mean? Kill you.
Do you support what happened?
No, what does that mean?
Because the next one you're gonna get.
If I
from the
find
room.
you, I put you on my ass, nigga.
Okay.
I will kill you.
So you're crazy.
Yeah. Screaming slogans like a prayer. But what are you really saying?
Playing Cardi B.
Glory to the martyrs, you need suicide bombs. Millions in cafes, now you dropping Islam. Long live resistance. Us kids in the smoke, keep back on mom. Some call it woke. That's a joke. From the river to the sea, yeah, I know that chant. Erasing.
Daniel's playing some music, but we're not gonna listen to any copyrighted music.
After hour thy vigilance, intense and keen, turned inward means. No battle of analysis. 6 on one thought securely pinned. Still every whisper of the wind. Like a flame straight and unstirred. Burn up thy being in one prolong thy meditations deep and strong, slaying even God should he distract thy attention from the chosen land. Last all these things in one power, time that the midnight blossom flower. The oneness is yet even in this, my son, thou shalt not do this. Thou restrainest the expression, shoot thy glance to rapture's darkling root, discarding
ever been. And I truly believe that they hate Gazans. That's the sad truth.
They don't hate Gazans, they exploit Gazans. They
exploit them. Well, because if they truly liked them, they would understand that peace is peace. They've been screaming for a ceasefire for the past 2 years. Israel gave them one, and that's not enough for them. It's because they don't really want a ceasefire. They want all Jews dead. So by any means necessary means they truly hate Gazans because they want them to die. They don't want them to live.
Bro,
This is
listen,
a narrative.
a lot of people gets entertained when they see Palestinian blood getting shed, man. And that's what I see in most of these guys who support the killing and stupid shit, man. Fuck that, bro. We want
no, they see this image, they get a rush, but immediately with the image, they are told where to point the finger at the Jews, and then they immediately like lash out on a tweet, like over here, and they feel good about themselves. It's like it's a how do you call it when you get in a game? The
Euphoric feeling.
when you kind of in Candy Crush, how do you call this thing? That you kind of
Adrenaline?
not adrenaline. Serotonin? No.
Oh, serotonin. It's adrenaline. No, it's serotonin. It's dopamine.
Yes. So it's like a dopamine rush. And it makes you like feel good about yourself. You think that, and most people just don't know that this Palestinian story is so layered.
Something new about Daniel. Dopamine rush from Candy Crush. Did I just learn something new about you? Dopamine rush from Candy Crush?
No,
This is something new about Jimmy Day.
it's from games, basically games is how they work with those sounds and effects and bullshit. But I lost the plot.
You were saying that again.
Use of the Palestinians to be Palestinians' purpose.
Yeah, that's no, sorry, but no, it's
No, that they get a rush by this. It's not really. That's not the point. Is what you're trying to say. It's not their purpose isn't for support. It's more of a
okay.
rush.
The Palestinian story is so layered that you know that when you think of yourself, I don't know, young and naive and clueless, okay? And the UN says this and this, and the ICC says this, so you don't need to think anymore, you know? Those become an Amnesty International and HLW. It's so layered, and the way that the propaganda that comes from Hamas and then kind of laundered as the Ministry of Gaza, and then it's echoed by like those fringe organizations like UNRWA and HLW, and then to more reliable, and then on the UN platform, and then in the UN resolution it becomes fact from Hamas to the UN, and then it becomes like, and then mainstream media reports as UN fleets, for example. So many of them just feel that they're doing the right thing. They're just like useful idiots, unfortunately. They seem very one-sided. Like I see that our story is not told. They don't know what's happening. And we talk about accountability or what is a terror organization, or how Hamas is embedded into like we talk about it. The stealing of the thing that we just found like 2 days ago about this huge warehouse full of rotten baby food that they were keeping. So they would have this humanitarian crisis. No one is reporting this, and even if it does, it will be like, okay, the rage that happened is already aimed at Israel. Now that you kill them out before it doesn't matter. It's like it's a boring fact. Well, the impact is being done. They had like a huge storage with baby food that was just like piling up and rotting there, like a huge amount. In Gaza, yeah.
And who hide it?
They did because Hamas, other factions, Palestinians, thieves that wanted to sell. I don't know what they put from them exactly in their society.
Why did they do that?
Because the humanitarian crisis. Listen, when Hamas went into Israel to commit what they committed, not just Hamas and other factions and many Palestinians, there were thousands of people that came in, many of them were civilians. When they came in to do what they did, with I think to get to go on whatever drugs slaughtering Jews and live streaming it on Facebook and on their go cans, and then they took 250 hostages back. They knew what would happen. They wanted this. Every death in Gaza is good for the Palestinian cause. A humanitarian crisis salvation in Gaza is good for the Palestinian cause. This is the twisted fucking reality that the more they suffer, the better for the cause. The cause is getting this the Free Palestine cause, which is basically the eradication of Israel. But you want their own country? No, they want to remove Israel. They don't want to have their own country. No one gives a fuck about.
Daniel, let me ask you a question. Is it your opinion or is that a fact?
It's a fact. Thank you very much. And if you want to prove me otherwise, bring me the person that really cares for them and is honest.
Very interesting. It's very interesting. I just find it very interesting.
It's a tragic story of the Palestinians. They're like pawns in the game. And
All they want is just Israel to go back.
This is really the tragedy of the Palestinians. Basically, the Arab Ummah wants to create this Arab nation, and we are a thorn in their eyes, in their leg. So they invented this Palestinian as a just finished. They invented the Palestinian nation as a tactic against Israel. They are no different from Jordanians, Syrian, Lebanese, or other Arabs in the area.
What about 1948?
What about 1948?
Yeah, if they were serious, they would have a country with them, right?
They didn't want this. 1948, they, with 5 Arab nations, decided to attack Israel. That was one day old because they wanted to wipe us out. After they refused the partition plan. And the Palestinians speaking, the Palestinians that are carrying the Palestinians that are like holding their key, right? The famous Palestinian key. That the 1 million Jews that were also expelled in 1948 from Arab countries. No one talks about it, we just didn't brand it as Nakba. None of them took a key. You know why? Because they were expelled. They are not coming back. The Palestinians that took the key, the reason that they take a key is a big deal, is because they were told to leave by their leaders. They were told, leave so we can wipe out the Jews and then you'll be able to come back. Unfortunately for them, they lost their cause of wiping out the Jews. This is why they have the key. Otherwise, no one would take the key.
I know. But Daniel, like, what was the partition plan 1947?
The partition plan was to divide it to the Jewish area and the Arab area.
But the Arab area, they didn't have an identity. How would they have an Arab area?
Yeah, Arab was the identity.
But so they were supposed to be a country?
No. It was meant for the Arabs. This is like, then Jordan took it. In 1948, Jordan took it, and then he annexed it. No one called it out, and no one had a problem with this because it's Arab. And in 1948, Egypt took Gaza. No one had a problem with this.
No, I'm talking about the partition plan.
That was about after taking from the British mandate, they created the Transjordan into Jordan. The rest they divided to. Divide between the Arabs and the Jews because there were a lot of fighting. So they took the areas of where the most Jews and where the most Arabs and kind of divided it.
Because it says here that the partition plan was divided in British mandate Palestine,
right,
and the Arab and the Jewish state.
Well, what? It was during the British mandate.
Yeah, it says British mandate Palestine. But you said it was invented in 1960s.
No, the Palestinian identity, the region was called Palestine, okay? During 1948, in that area, if you would talk about the Palestinians, you would usually refer to the Jews. The Arabs were Arabs. And then 1948 happened, Israel created, Jordan took West Bank, they became Jordan in 1946. The Palestinian identity was created in the 60s, in the mid-60s, in 1964. By the way, 1964, this was the great Palestinian identity. That was the Palestine Liberation Organization, the PLO. 3 years before 1967, we actually took the West Bank. So they were calling for the liberation of Palestine, which is basically not to create their own state, it's to wipe us out.
Yes, but before 19...
Shalom, my brothers and sisters.
The region was called Palestine, but there's a region.
Yeah, there's a region.
Like, we could call the East Coast, or I don't know, the Bible Belt, or like, it's not.
It would like me to call a region Egypt, and then people call themselves Egyptians. I understand.
No, Egypt is, they have an old history. This area was Syria, Palestine. Palestine was included sometimes. It's not this exact land. It was called, like, with Jordan, without Jordan. Yes, there was the time of nation was formed, and the Palestinians decided that they want to do it a century later without, I don't know.
Jordan.
What about Jordan?
Is that good?
I mean, the name West Bank, which is the funny thing, is a colonial name. I mean, West Bank of what? It's the West Bank of the Jordan River. And why do you refer to it as the West Bank? Because it was colonized by Jordan. This is when they named the area West Bank. It's not like a name that they carried forever. Like it's from the 60s. Last century.
I would say that it doesn't really serve a purpose, because if they were called before the 60s Palestine and they want to call themselves Palestinians, okay.
Call them whatever they want. I don't care how they call them.
Yeah, but it makes sense. It's not from 1960 then.
No, they didn't call themselves Palestinians before
Okay,
that.
you mean like that? Okay, like a...
Yeah. They didn't call themselves like this. The national identity was created then. You will not find reference to the Palestinians. You will find reference to Palestine, okay? Or even the early texts back then, they would be referred to as the Arabs of Palestine. But a Palestinian, you will not see, like, people talk to them about, or them presenting themselves as Palestinians.
No. But
it's a new term, which is basically, it's a technical term to kind of connect them to the land.
But do you know what they called themselves before that in 19...
Arabs. Yes, many of them came during because when the Zionists came to the land and started developing it and building and, roads and the neighborhoods and cities, there were a lot of work, and there were a lot of work immigrants, hundreds of thousands of Arabs that came from all kinds of areas, from Syria, from Iraq, to work. It wasn't like the borders that we have today of Airtel. They just traveled, and anyone that basically was in the land 2 years before, from 1946, it's enough that you were there 2 years before the creation of Israel, you were considered a Palestinian, even if you moved from Iraq a day before, like 2 years before.
How many there are from Iraq going on?
I don't know. A lot of time you can see by their last name. You will see, for example, a lot of Palestinians called El Masri. What is El Masri? The Egyptian.
In Palestine.
What?
How many people in Palestine?
What is Palestine? Where is Palestine?
How much people in Palestine? How many people?
Well,
in this land, he's talking about this new identity.
Which part of that? Because people use the word Palestine in many different, like, what do you mean?
How many people nowadays South Palestine?
What is Palestine?
6 million. I know what he means. He's talking about these people that...
Judea and Samaria and Gaza, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
4 million.
I think, yeah, something like this, 4 or 5.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Well, it's really been a fascinating conversation, Daniel. I'm just wondering what's on the agenda for the rest of the day, Daniel? Like, is there a purpose? Is there an agenda? What are we talking about tonight? Poly supporters hate Gazans, the sad truth. Is that the truth or is that opinion?
No, I know that the Palestinians have been thrown out of over four countries. I just want to understand why.
Because they try to. They always allied against the country that they were in. If it's what was it, Kuwait? No, Kuwait. Kuwait.
Yeah, Kuwait.
And there was in Jordan and in Lebanon. Like in Lebanon, they are really like treated like shit.
Lebanon, that was one. Good old Lebanon.
Dude, it's really hard for me to. Like, I don't know anything, you just stay closer to the mic.
You're from Lebanon, what?
Who's from Lebanon?
You are from Lebanon.
I'm from Lebanon?
Yeah.
No. I'm from Israel.
Okay.
John, where you from?
I'm from Lebanon.
You're from Lebanon?
Yeah.
And you thought that I'm from Lebanon? And you're being from Lebanon?
Yeah, this happened to me.
Where in Lebanon? Which part?
Which part?
Huh?
Which part in Lebanon?
Are you drunk, my friend?
I think he is. Please drop him.
Drunk. I don't know. Maybe a little.
Maybe, okay. A little. Bye-bye. Maybe a little. I like it. No, maybe a little.
Yo, you're crazy.
What happened? I missed it.
I said, are you drunk? No. Oh, maybe a little.
Oy vey, when are these Arabs gonna show some respect?
Oy vey, Smir.
You didn't have him to drink?
I don't
Not
think
on
he's
a
a Muslim.
Wednesday.
I think he's a Christian, to be honest.
In Lebanon, well, I don't think he's from Lebanon. If he thought I'm from Lebanon, I doubted that he's from Lebanon.
So, Daniel, let me ask you a question. What is Arab identity politics? What is Muslim identity politics?
No,
Mohammedan Islam, identity. How does identity politics play a role into the conflict in the Middle East?
Yes, 3 and blue.
I think the whole identities are made up, especially the Middle East one.
Yeah, they're terrorists, man. You got a certain group of people who get on the bus and they say Allah Akbar and the bus explodes. But then you have another group of people, they get on the bus and say Baruch Hashem, the bus doesn't explode. Why is that?
Well,
They say Baruch Hashem, and they say, well, hold on. They say either say Baruch Hashem or they say praise Jesus or God bless you and the bus doesn't explode. Why is that?
That's exactly what I mean. And the crazy
Well,
thing
they got
is,
superpower, man, from God, man.
Yo, man, Palestinians are the bomb.
No pun intended.
Don't talk shit about them. They'll blow shit up, man.
Yo, it's to the point. I was walking in New York City and I heard somebody say Allah Akbar and I jumped on the ground. Like, I thought someone's going to explode. Like, it's crazy.
Why would someone well, I don't know what happened.
and you know the crazy thing is, now they want to put 9/11 on the Jews.
No, they want to put anything on the Jews. I think the only thing that I haven't seen it was Hurricane Katrina, but other than this, JFK, 9/11, like anything, basically, it's us.
Yeah. And
Charlie Kirk.
Somalia.
Charlie Kirk.
Jews taught him how to steal, so now he's in America stealing because of the Jews.
But you know what's crazy though, Daniel? They said that it was the what is that? The Mossad flew all the way out here to kill Charlie Kirk, explain it outside, the Jews had something to do with it. Like, this is crazy.
Said that Candace.
And they even said that Epstein is Jewish. He's not Jewish.
I don't know if it's Jewish or not.
His family is Jewish.
No, Epstein was a Jew.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
Like he has a Jewish name, but
You know what? Actually, let's check. It could have been just his father. Hold on.
yeah, it could be a paternal thing and not
Yeah. What was his first name?
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
Jefferson.
He was a Jew.
Hold on.
This is like I don't know. This is what the talk is all about.
They say we look better for it.
Because with Jews, it's not that you have one to say that they're all with like I cannot say like all Muslims are terrorists or something like this because not all of them are.
You can't say all rappers are cheating.
All terrorists are Muslim. Okay, so radio.
You cannot say that because I mean Jews.
By birth and upbringing, he was born in Brooklyn, New York. His Jewish parents raised in a hardworking Jewish family in the Seagate neighborhood. Traces of his Jewish background, such as
Are you reading from Wikipedia?
No,
Or ChatGPT?
from Grok.
Okay.
So, such as references to his bar mitzvah and family traditions appeared in the personal tributes compiled.
Listen, Grok can also fall for a lot of bullshit.
All of them get manipulated, I know.
Like Wikipedia became like such a shit place for propaganda. I just want to recommend, anything about the conflict. I would suggest find like a different language and then just translate the page instead of reading it in English. The English version is like completely shit.
That's a good idea.
What do you think about the Jewish AI?
What is the Jewish AI?
Oh my God, you gotta
AI is
show
Jewish.
this, bro. No, you gotta see this one, bro.
Maybe tell them about it. It's good.
The shekel thingy.
Yeah, that's the rabbi, bro. It's funny. It's the best I've ever seen.
Do you have the link for it? Do you want me to put it in the chat?
Can you put it in the
Hey,
chat?
hey, brother BB. I was on a cruise ship, right? And it was really windy outside, and my kippah fell off, and it went into the ocean. Should I blame my Jewish brothers to that too, as well?
Yeah, because they should have.
Muziek wordt van Daniel PC afgespeeld.
They should have crazy glued the kippah to your head.
Yeah, they should have. Damn, fucked up.
Did you wear kippah, honestly?
Yeah, honestly, I do. And that was actually my favorite kippah. Because a very important rabbi to me, in Jerusalem, man, before he passed away, he gave that to me. He took it off his head and gave it to me. And like that was like my favorite kippah, like But anyway,
you should have jumped in and went after.
Yeah, I should have, but down,
Are you Chucky? Are you a Black American?
Nah, I'm actually a Caribbean American.
Okay, and you converted?
Yes, I did.
Nice. How was that experience?
But just to interrupt, there's Black Jamaicans, guys. There's synagogues in Jamaica. There's synagogues in Costa Rica. There's synagogues in Colombia.
There's synagogues
in Cuba and Sweden. Because that's the problem. A lot of people, they see Black people or Chinese people, they're like not saying they use it. This is the same for everybody that's listening too. They're like, did you convert? Like, when did you become Jewish? No, they could have been born Jewish. There's like lineage and lineage of Black Jews, Asian Jews, Hispanic Jews. It's, you know what I mean? We're such enriched with like different cultures.
Yeah, but Judaism isn't like you have to be born. Your mother must be Jew.
Yeah, but your mother can be Chinese and a Jew.
Yeah, of course.
The mindful put forth.
It wasn't like that.
No, so yeah, you just got the a different type of Jew that converted, right? But they do say, so to give like a positive thing to Chucky, so if you're already born a Jew, right, and you're on a ladder, so you're already up there, right? Now Chucky converted to Judaism, he started at the bottom, right? The only where for him to go is up. So he's always going to be progressive. So that's why like converts are held to like a better standard and also recognized as amazing because their only level, they can only go up and up and up. it's a weird thing, but it's something positive for people that convert to Judaism. That's why we're not like Muslims where you just say the Shahada and you're a Muslim and then you don't know nothing about. We traditionally will turn you down 3 times, and then there's different types of like Judaism that will like my sister-in-law, she converted. It took her 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah, but now she's more Jewish than everybody in the family. She buried 16 kids so far.
Wow.
She's but it took 4 years, and
She gave birth to 16 kids.
yeah, and then because of the big thing, my brother also had to do tests, and he was born a Jew. Like our grandfather's a rabbi, my brother is now a rabbi, but he had to go back and forth to do tests as well to see that it wasn't just her. He had to do it too. It's like, but then I hear Jews that converted in a weekend. I don't know. Like
It must be progressive.
I don't like that shit. But to each
I
their own.
converted just for like an afternoon, and then I converted back.
You converted for the sex. I know.
Just for like a one Shabbat dinner, and then I converted back.
That was it. Yeah.
Okay, put the AI in the chat.
I know. Yes. Everybody the chat's got the website. I just don't want to take that song down that Daniel put because it's so good. But everybody want to click on it. There's an AI bot. You can ask the rabbi there any question. Uncle Norm's here.
Yo, what's up?
Come on stage, Uncle Norm.
And regarding the song, like, share, and subscribe, as they say.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe, follow.
I would love to convert, to be honest, but I don't know if I have the courage. Not during this time.
Why?
No, everything that happened, like
you become a target automatically.
Yeah.
Yo, brother Joe, if I can give you some advice, man, just go to your local synagogue, wherever you at in the world. Just go to your local synagogue, talk to the rabbi, man. Learn, study. It's beautiful. Judaism changed my life.
And see if it's for you. You don't have to go and say, I'm here to convert. Just say, I want to learn. And it'll come natural if you do, follow it fully, or you just learn about it. But I guarantee it's addictive, bro. You're gonna fall in love.
Yeah. And that's funny that you say that though, BB, because that's initially how I stumbled across. I wasn't really religious, growing up. Having Latino parents, of course, I went to church, and like we would always. So I know the Bible very well, and so I was curious. In the Christian Bible, it talks about the Jews being God's chosen people. So, where I grew up at, there's a synagogue, a really big synagogue. So I just happened to walk by one day, and they were in there praying. And I said, man, I just came here just to study, I'm interested in, your guys' take pretty much on the Bible. And they said, okay, well, you're more than welcome to, pray with us if you want, if you like, or you can come back at, in like 30 minutes and we're going to have a lecture. So I went there, I got in with them. Of course, I didn't stand in the minion. But it was just cool, man. Like, I went for one study session. Next thing you know, I'm getting invited to Shabbos dinner. I'm getting invited to the holidays. And it just kind of happened,
I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you go to like a Jewish gathering where a lot of Jews be chilling and whatever?
You said, do I go?
Yeah, like do you go like to a place? Is there a place like like gathering for the Jews? Because like Muslims, they got mosque, right? They go to the mosque. And
they got the synagogue. Great question.
The synagogue.
Sometimes they got the community center as well.
Yeah, those people call it like synagogue, temple, shul, but it's all the same place. It's a place where we go and pray.
Yeah.
And congregate. It's a congregation.
Okay, that's nice. Shuki, and how like when you go there right now, right? Like people are chilling with you, like it's like you're one of the team, or how it is?
No, they put their COVID mask on and they keep me in the corner.
They don't say hi.
That's the answer. That's the answer you wanted. Nah, they love me. And I've been. I've been welcomed with open arms, man.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's nice, bro.
Some of the community centers even have a basketball court, and I would put the rabbis on skates pretty much while we play.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Especially in the country that I am now, that I'm in right now currently. I go to the chief rabbi's house for Shabbos every Friday. Like they love me out here.
No, yeah. You was in the Niger, right?
You said what?
You was in wasn't you in a Muslim country right now?
It's mixed. It's mixed.
What can you say what country you are in right now?
I would refrain from
in Asia, but listen, isn't like some place in Asia, right?
Yeah, it's somewhere in Asia.
Okay, damn, bro, they got Jews there too.
Absolutely, bro.
We're all over the world, man. And even in my native country, man, in the Caribbean, there's Jews all over. In fact, Cuba was the first country in the Caribbean to open up, to allow the Jews to come there, during the Holocaust. Then the Dominican Republic, then Puerto Rico, then Jamaica. There's Jews all over, man.
There's Jews in Bangkok, in Thailand.
Yeah, Thailand.
In Russia.
I've seen Jews. The place that shocked me the most was in Japan. I was in Japan during Passover one year, and I'm looking around because I needed, some supplies for Passover. Lo and behold, I find a Chabad in Japan. I was like, oh my God, what is this? So I ended up, making some arrangements through the chaplain to get some supplies, and it was fun.
Yo, I think it's crazy, man, because I've never seen anything that is Jewish here in Norway, ever.
There's a big Jewish community in Norway.
There have been Jews that made it to the moon. Jews made it to outer space.
Is that what you split it?
We're opening a Shabbat house in Gaza.
I've never seen the Star of David on a wall or something,
Yeah, we're gonna open a Shabbat house in Gaza real soon.
In 2050, we're gonna have a Chabad on the moon. I'm serious.
No, that's crazy.
We need one in Williamsburg first.
We already have a Chabad. There's the biggest Chabad in the world. Is in Brooklyn.
Bro, there's a lot of Jews in New York City, man.
Yeah, 770, man. That's the biggest on Eastern Parkway. That's the biggest Chabad of the world. It's there.
I think we got one in Brighton Beach.
Man has the right to live by his own law, to live in the way that he wills to do, to work as he will, to play as he will, to rest as he will, to die when and how he will. Man has the right to eat what he will, to drink what he will, to dwell where he will, to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has the right to think what he will, to speak what he will, to write what he will, to draw, paint, carve, etch and mold, build as he will, to dress as he will. Man has the right to love as he will. Take your fill and will of love as you will, when, where, and with whom you will. Man has a right to kill those who will thwart these rights. The slave shall serve. Love is the law. love under will, the law of the strong. This is our law and the joy of the world. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Do that and no other shall say nay. Every man and every woman is a star. There is no God but man. The rights of man, Master Therian, Freda Perturabo, Alistair Crowley, the Master, Alistair Crowley. Man has the right to live by his own law, to live in the way that he wills to do, to work as he will, to play as he will, to rest as he will, to die when and how he will. Man has the right to eat what he will, to drink what he will, to dwell where he will, to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has the right to think what he will, to speak what he will, to write what he will, to draw, paint, carve, etch a mold, build as he will, to dress as he will. Man has the right to love as he will. Take your fill and will of love as you will. When, where, and with whom you will. Man has the right to kill those who would thwart these rights. The slave shall serve. Love is the law. Love under will. The law of the strong. This is our law and the joy of the world. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Do that and no other shall say nay. Every man and every woman is a star. There is no God but man. The rights of man, Master Therian, Freda Perturabo, Alistair Crowley, the Master, Alistair Crowley. Man has the right to live by his own law, to live in the way that he wills to do, to work as he will, to play as he will, to rest as he will, to die when and how he will. Man has the right to eat what he will, to drink what he will, to dwell where he will, to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has the right to think what he will, to speak what he will, to write what he will, to draw, paint, carve, etch a mold, build as he will, to dress as he will. Man has the right to love as he will. Take your fill and will of love as you will. When, where, and with whom you will. Man has the right to kill those who would thwart these rights. The slave shall serve. Love is the law. Love under will. The law of the strong. This is our law and the joy of the world. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Do that and no other shall say nay. Every man and every woman is a star. There is no God but man. The rights of man, Master Therian, Freda Perturabo, Alistair Crowley, the Master, Alistair Crowley. Carthage, though a commercial republic, was the aggressor. In the very war that ended in her destruction, Hannibal had carried her arms into the heart of Italy, into the gates of Rome before Scipio returned. Gave him an overthrow in the territories of Carthage, and made a conquest of the Commonwealth. Venice in later times figured more than once in wars of ambition, till becoming an object to the other Italian states. Pope Julius too found means to accomplish that formidable aim, which gave a deadly blow to the power and pride of this haughty republic. The provinces of Holland, till they were overwhelmed in debts and taxes, took a leading and conspicuous part in the wars of Europe. They had furious contests with England for the dominion of the sea, and were among the most persevering and most implacable of the opponents of Louis XIV. In the government of Britain, the representatives of the people compose one branch of the national legislature. Commerce has been for ages the predominant pursuit of that country. Few nations, nevertheless, have been more frequently engaged in war. And the wars in which that kingdom has been engaged have, in numerous instances, proceeded from the people. There have been, if I may so express it, almost as many popular as royal wars. The cries of the nation and the importunities of their representatives, upon various occasions, dragged their monarchs into war, or continued them in it, contrary to their inclinations, and sometimes contrary to the real interest of the state. In that memorable struggle for superiority between the rival houses of Austria and Barbary, which so long kept Europe in a flame, it is well known that the antipathies of the English against the French, seconding the ambition, or rather the avarice, of a favorite leader, then protracted the war beyond the limits marked out by sound policy, and for considerable time in opposition to the views of the court. The wars of these two last-mentioned nations have in a great measure grown out of commercial considerations, the desire of supplanting and the fear of being supplanted, either in particular branches of traffic or in the general advantages of trade and navigation. From this summary of what has taken place in other countries, whose situations have borne the nearest resemblance to our own, what a reason can we have to confide in those reveries, which would seduce us into an expectation of peace, cordiality between the members of the present Confederacy in a state of separation? Have we not already seen enough of the fallacy and extravagance of those idle theories which have amused us with promises of an exemption from the imperfections, weaknesses, and evils incident to society in every shape? Is it not time to awake from the deceitful dream of a golden age and to adopt as a practical maxim for the direction of our political conduct that we, as well as the other inhabitants of the globe, are yet remote from the happy empire of perfect wisdom, perfect virtue, virtue. Let the point of extreme depression to which our national dignity and credit have sunk. Let the inconveniences felt everywhere from a lax and ill administration of government. Let the revolt of a part of the state of North Carolina, the late menacing disturbances in Pennsylvania, and the actual insurrections and rebellions in Massachusetts declared.
Because when once an efficient national government is established, the best men in the country will not only consent to serve, but also will generally be appointed to manage it. For although town or country or other contracted influence may place men in state assemblies or senates or courts of justice, or executive departments, yet more general and extensive reputation for talents and other qualifications will be necessary to recommend men to offices under the national government, especially as it will have the widest field for choice and never experience the want of proper persons, which is not uncommon in some of the state's heads. It will result that the administration, the political councils, and the judicial decisions of the national government will be more wise, systematical, and judicious than those of individual states, and consequently more satisfactory with respect to other nations, as well as more safe with respect to us. Because under the national government, treaties and articles of treaties, as well as the laws of nations, will always be expounded in one sense and executed in the same manner. Whereas adjudications on the same points and questions in 13 states or in 3 or 4 confederacies will not always accord or be consistent, and that as well from the variety of independent courts and judges appointed by different and independent governments as from the different local laws and interests which may affect and influence them. The wisdom of the convention in committing such questions to the jurisdiction judgment of courts appointed by and responsible only to one national government cannot be too much commended, because the prospect of present loss or advantage may often tempt the governing party in 1 or 2 states to swerve from good faith and justice, but those temptations not reaching the other states and consequently having little or no influence on the national government. Temptation will be fruitless and good faith and justice be preserved. Keys of the treaty of peace with written at great weight to this reasoning, because even if the governing party in a state should be disposed to resist such temptations, yet as such temptations may and commonly do result from circumstances peculiar to the state and may A great number of the inhabitants, the governing party, may not always be able, if willing, to prevent the injustice meditated, or to punish the aggressors. But the national government, not being affected by those local circumstances, will neither be induced to commit the wrong themselves, nor want power or intimidation with good influence. Or punish its commission by others.
The utility of a confederacy, as well to suppress faction and to guard the internal tranquility of states, as to increase their external force and security, is in reality not a new idea. It has been practiced upon in different countries and ages, and has received the sanction of the most approved writers on the subject of politics. The opponents of the plan proposed have, with greatest assiduity, cited and circulated observations of Montesquieu on the necessity of a contracted territory for a republican government, but they seem not to have been apprised of the sentiments of that great man expressed in another part of his work, nor to have adverted to the consequences of the principle to which they subscribe with such ready acquiescence. When Montesquieu recommends a small extent for republics, the standards he had in view were of dimensions far short of the limits of almost every one of these states. Neither Virginia, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, New York, North Carolina, nor Georgia can by any means be compared with the models from which he reasoned and to which the terms of his description apply. If we therefore take his ideas on this point as the criterion of truth, we shall be driven to the alternate either of taking refuge at once in the arms of monarchy, or of splitting ourselves into an infinity of little jealous, clashing, tumultuous commonwealths, the wretched nurseries of unceasing discord, and the miserable objects of universal pity or contempt. Some of the writers who have come forward on the other side of the question seem to have been aware of the dilemma, and have even been bold enough to hint at the division of the larger states as a desirable thing. Such an infatuated policy, such a desperate expedient might, by the multiplication of petty offices, answer the views of men who possess not qualifications to extend their influence beyond the narrow circles of personal intrigue. But it could never promote the greatness or happiness of the people of America.
There's 7 keys to the great gate, being 8 and 1 and 1 and 8. First, let the body of thee be still, bound by the cerements of will. Core frigid thus thou mayst depart, the fidget babes, the tease, the thought. Next, let the breath through them be low, easy, regular, and slow, so that thy being be in tune with the great sea's Pacific swoon. Third, let thy life be pure and calm, sway softly as no well to live be bound to the one level, the profound. Fifth, let the thought divinely free from sense observance.
strong. Slaying even God, should he distract thy attention from the chosen act?
All these things in one or power time. At the midnight blossom flower, the one that says, yet even in this my son, thou shalt not do
If thou restrain the expression, show thy glance to rapture's darkling room. Discarding name for silent strikes, even of inside consciousness. Pierce to the heart, I leave thee here, thou art the master I revere. Thy radiance that rolls apart, O brother of the silver star.
There are 7 keys to the great gate, being 8 and 1 and 1 and 8. First let the body of thee be still, bound by the cerements of will. Corpse rigid thus thou mayst abort, the fidget babes, the tease of the thought. Next let the breath rhythm be low, easy, regular, and slow, so that thy beat be in tune with the great sea's Pacific swoon. Third, let thy life be pure and calm, sway softly as a well till I be bound to the one love of the profound. Fifth, let the thought divinely free from sense of service and taxi. Watch every thought that springs in hands, hour after hour thy vigilance, intense and keen, turned inward mist, no atom of analysis.
6 on one thought securely pinned, still every whisper of the wind. So like a flame straight and unstirred, burn up thy being in one word. Next till that ecstasy prolong, thy meditations deep and strong.
Slaying even God, should he distract thy attention from the chosen act? Last all these things in one or power time, that the midnight blossom flower, the one that sits, yet even in this, my son, thou shalt not do amiss. So like a flame straight and stern, burn up the being in one word. Next to that ecstasy prolong, thy meditations deep and strong. Slaying even God, should he distract thy attention from the chosen act?
Last all these things in water power, turn up the midnight blossom flower. The one who says, yet even this, my son, thou shalt not do amiss.
Federalist No. 7. The same subject continued, concerning dangers from dissensions between the states. For the Independent Journal, Alexander Hamilton. To the people of the state of New York, it is sometimes asked, with an air of seeming triumph, what inducements could the states have, if disunited, to make war upon each other? It would be a full answer to this question to say, precisely the same inducements which have at different times deluged in blood all the nations in the world. But unfortunately for us, the question admits of a more particular answer. There are causes of differences within our immediate contemplation, of the tendency of which, even under the restraints of a federal constitution, we have had sufficient experience to enable us to form a judgment of what might be expected if those restraints were removed. Territorial disputes have at all times been found one of the most fertile sources of hostility among nations. Perhaps the greatest proportion of wars that have desolated the earth have sprung from this origin. This cause would exist among us in full force. We have a vast tract of unsettled territory within the boundaries of the United States. There still are discordant and undecided claims between several of them, and the dissolution of the Union would lay a foundation for similar claims between them all. It is well known that they have heretofore had serious and animated discussion concerning the rights to the lands which were ungranted at the time of the Revolution, and which usually went under the name of Crown lands. The states within the limits of whose colonial governments they were comprised have claimed them as their property. The others have contended that the rights of the Crown in this article devolved upon the Union, especially as to all that part of the Western Territory which, either by actual possession or through the submission of the Indian proprietors, was subjected to the jurisdiction of the King of Great Britain, till it was relinquished in the Treaty of Peace. This, it has been said, was at all events an acquisition to the Confederacy by compact with a foreign power. It has been the prudent policy of Congress to appease this controversy by prevailing upon the states to make cessions to the United States.
That message come across?
This has been so
well, the first tweet was before the assassination, so it couldn't possibly have anything to do with who I thought did the assassination, because the assassination hadn't happened. So the first tweet was before the assassination, like a month before. It was just something I had heard, that the rumor was going around, I guess you could say, that Charlie Kirk feared for his life. So that tweet has nothing to do with who afterwards I thought, committed the murder. I think the question is still up in the air. I think it is most likely has something to do with Israel. But I don't have too much evidence for that. It's more of a lack of evidence and a general pattern of events that leads me to believe that. At the same time, the official story is the left did it. The left is acting like they did it. Sort of that tweet. The second tweet is just in the worldview that I feel like most left people have is, we killed Charlie Kirk, we got away with it. So that's what I'm speaking to. The fact that the left wing, if that's who did it, then got away with it and got only good things out of it, basically. And I'm pointing to the weakness of the right wing to treat the threats against us with the appropriate seriousness. Now, whether or not it was a leftist, I still don't know. I still think it's up in the air, and I have a lot of unanswered questions about the patsy they have now, who I don't believe we have the full story on. So, still the left has benefited. The left acts like they did it. The left believes they did it. The official story is the left that did it. Personally, I have questions about that story, but it doesn't matter, because the widespread perception is that the left did it and got away with it. And so that's what matters in informing the left's behavior into the future.
Do you think also? Do you think that's a widespread opinion? Because I would say the vast majority.
I can't hear both of y'all at once.
Oh,
sorry, Matt.
Sorry. Go ahead, Matt. Let me ask. Go ahead, Matt.
How do you feel about the genocide in Gaza?
Yeah, I know.
How do I feel about the genocide? Yeah, I'm strongly against the genocide in Gaza.
Yeah,
locally, and since before October 7th, yes.
As Israeli shill.
Sorry?
Yeah, it's utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, no one said that. What the argument was, and I will come to that, Harrison. The argument was that although no doubt about it, you've been speaking out against the genocide in Gaza. You spoke about it before October the 7th. I've seen the clip of your very first video where you spoke about it in InfoWars. There's no doubt about that. But on the other hand, you are a presenter on InfoWars. InfoWars does perpetuate Zionist agendas and Zionist talking points. And one example, or many examples of that, is attacking Muslims in the United States of America and the UK and various other countries intentionally, which is the actual objectives of Zionists. Because if you look at these big Jewish Zionist billionaires like Robert Shulman.
I get it. All you're saying is that Zionist interests overlap with my interests. It has nothing to do with Zionism in my or our calculus. I am for the Western culture. I'm for Western civilization. I'm for America, heritage Americans, black, white, Mexican. Like, there are lots of heritage Americans, but that's who I'm in favor of. That's who I'm for. That's who I'm fighting for. And it's a Christian country, and I'm fighting for Christianity. So I'm against Muslims infiltrating Western countries. I'm against Zionists controlling Western countries. These are not contradictory. They're just both my enemies. Like, you seem to treat it as if there's two teams, and you get confused when somebody doesn't fall nicely into one of those teams. It's more like rock, paper, scissors. It's more like I got two enemies, not one, and both of them aren't encroaching on my civilization and my heritage. And that's not even to say that I think either of those groups are my enemies. It's just culturally, politically, those are the forces that are that I'm working against. Two of many forces. I'm also against the Chinese. I'm also against communists and socialists in my own country. I'm also against the Christians that call themselves Christians but are hanging out in Israel getting talking points. I'm against all these things. So there's nothing contradictory about this. There's nothing Zionist about not wanting Muslims to take over your country, just like there's nothing Muslim about not wanting Zionists to control your country. This all seems very clear-cut and obvious to me, and to the idea of InfoWars promoting Zionist talking points. No, we're against the Muslim takeover as we've always been. And if you watch InfoWars recently, it's absolutely anti-Zionist, and Alex goes out of his way to condemn what Israel, Netanyahu, the Zionists are doing in general. But there's also a deliberate overriding message of unity of all Americans of any race, color, and creed that aren't trying to dominate, take over, control, subvert, manipulate other groups. So, with such
unless they're Christians, of course.
What's that?
I said unless they're Christians, it's okay for them to dominate the rest of the Americans.
In Christian countries, yeah, exactly.
So, Harrison, this is obviously where you basically are misunderstanding my point, right? Because I'm not saying you have to be on one side or the other. This is a complete misconception of the point. What I'm saying is, of course, if there is such a claimed invasion in reality, of course you would speak out against it because, as you said, you are a Christian guy. You believe in the white population or whatever it is. You believe in all of these positions, and that's fine to do so, no problem whatsoever. Where the disagreement is where basically people like InfoWars or yourself push things that are demonstrably false with this claim that there is a Muslim takeover, where, for example, in the United States of America, there clearly isn't a Muslim takeover based on numbers, based on positions of power. And in reality, when this is done, is because the
Okay. I don't care how far along the takeover has gone. I don't want to just start in the first place. So, what have I pushed that's fake? I got to go, but I do appreciate you letting me on and clearing the air. But what have I said that's fake? That's not true.
So, for example, I just now put the tweet out. There was, for example, I'll give you an example, a recent one. Jake Lang went to Dearborn, Michigan. Jake Lang is a Jewish Zionist.
I know that. What did I say about that wasn't true?
You said, if I remember again from the top of my head, you said something like, these Muslims are abusing this Christian man or whatever, these Christian men, and that is propaganda because in reality, Jake Lang went into that city to...
I wasn't even talking... I wasn't referencing Jake Lang there. I was referencing the abuse of the Christian citizens by the Muslim city councilmen who basically dismissed the Christians' concerns about the call to prayer. Like, it's illegal to air the call of prayer, but they do it anyway, and the Christian citizens keep complaining, and this city council doesn't do anything about it. And there are lots of examples of this. There's another video that went viral today that was a guy complaining that his Muslims have taken over. I think it was Richardson, Texas, and people who were walking around demonstrating were arrested and investigated, even though all they were doing was speaking, saying things, whereas Muslim men that showed up with guns and tried to intimidate people weren't even charged. So there's a pattern of Muslims taking over areas in America and then benefiting their co-religionists, and I'm against that, and that's factual, and it has nothing to do with Jake Lang, except that the reason they were targeting Dearborn was because examples of this had cropped up in the recent past. So I'm glad that clears. I hope that clears everything up. I really don't have time for any more, so I do have to go.
Okay, no problem.
But I appreciate it.
Posted on the day when Jake Lang went, so you were clearly talking about him.
I was talking about why Dearborn was the location of the march and why it was an appropriate location. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So you were talking about
but I don't lie,
Jake
so
Lang
don't say.
So he wasn't a Christian guy. Okay.
Well, he says he's Christian, and in the Christian religion, you can convert to Christianity, and I have no reason to question his conversion. So I'll call him a Christian man if that's what he defines himself by, even though I guess he's ethnically Jewish.
He is indeed ethnically Jewish. It probably would have been good to highlight that and put that and explain that. And maybe the fact that he was at the wall.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Bye.
He left. He didn't want to have the back and forth, which is fine. At least he did come up. But yeah, he was. This is the thing. They just want to come for a short period of time, make the points. Joe.
So do you feel they should have talked to him now?
No, I do believe they should have talked to him, but as you can see, he, I mean, I was going to push back on that one, but then Matt Baker jumped in. I was going to say that Matt Baker made it about Islam, so we ended up talking about that. But before Matt Baker jumped in, I was going to say that, wait a sec, why is it on the tweet you basically blamed left-wing people? And actually now Harrison Smith himself is saying it's not Israel. He didn't think it was Israel, and his original tweet wasn't about Israel.
No, he did say it. He said, I do think it's Israel, but I don't know.
Well, he said both. Then he said, oh, it might be a left-wing person.
It could be. What do you think?
What was his original tweet?
Who do you think it was?
What was it? What was his original tweet actually now? Because I just assumed that based on what everybody's saying that he said it was Israel.
Who do you think it was?
He thinks it's Sam Parker and the Mormon people.
No, that's a joke. I mean, I think Solomon joking when he says that. He thinks the friends of Charlie Kirk said that Charlie Kirk was afraid that Israel was going to assassinate him. That's what the tweet was.
Oh, did the tweet actually say Israel?
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, what I was going to ask him. Sorry.
That's what started it before Cannaissance. That's why I jumped on the Israel bandwagon.
But my point still stands, and the thing is, what I was going to ask him, but then you jumped in, Matt, and made it about the Muslim issue, which again, and then he said his point and then ran off. But the thing is, in terms of what I was going to ask him was that on his specific tweet, though, I know he's given this thing that left-wing people believe it, but you actually said yourself as an individual that the left did it. That's what I was going to ask him, but then you jumped in because that's what he said.
Well, you did say that. And I think he responded.
Well, I read the tweet out to him, and then he made his excuse, and then I was going to say, but then my response was going to be when you jumped in that, but this specific line says that the left killed him. You're saying it, therefore you're believing it. So can you explain it?
Well, do you remember you were on a space, and actually you're on YouTube, and you were on InfoWars at one point, and you said, well, it's American to have protests and this and that, and you're on there, and you're saying, yeah, we should be able to protest and this and that. True. And I saw you on YouTube, and you were saying if I forget it was Egypt or some country, you were on the YouTube channel, and you said if there was an uprising, you as a Muslim would have just shut it down and crushed it. Do you remember that?
Yeah, you talking about Syria. You talking about the Syrian rebellion.
Yeah, that you would stop any protests.
So there's two things. So because it's a very good question actually, and I think it's a fair question to ask. So the first thing is, I do believe that a person should have a right to protest and the right to speak out against what they disagree with, right? What was happening?
Crush it. That's what you said. That's a quote.
Yeah, I'm going to explain it, man.
I know, but Matt, you don't let him answer. He heard what you said. Let him answer because I want to hear the answer as well. Oh my God, this is not the Matt and Suleiman show.
Come on. I love all of you guys. Jesus.
Yeah. I'm going to answer your question because I think it's a good question to ask. It's a good question. I do believe in this ability to protest for sure. The issue what you had with Syria specifically was, because that's what you're talking about. In Syria, there was a Arab Spring, which was manufactured by the West. They intentionally pushed it by Israel, by the United States of America. It was not organic. They intentionally did it. What I said was with Bashar al-Assad, and you're talking about my conversation with Scott Horton, because both of us agreed that the protests were inorganic. Both of us agreed that they were manufactured from externally outside of Syria. Therefore, those protests weren't real people protesting. It was in order to cause a color revolution in Syria. Now, when you deal with an attempt at a color of revolution, a rebellion, an overthrowing, there's a few ways to deal with it. One is you allow them to do what they're doing and hope they disperse. This was Scott Horton's position. He thought they would just protest, that they were a bit natural and maybe they'll disperse. I said that no, I don't. I think that they were not natural. It was a color revolution, and the only way to deal with something like that is to be tough and just to stop it immediately, because what happened was when they allowed it to continue, it cascaded. The US started putting it on the TV shows, America, Britain, UK, Western civilization, Israeli Mossad, then they started putting Israeli agents in there and West people from outside trying to rebel, and then you basically had complete destruction of the society, and after 15 years, millions of people killed, millions of people injured, millions of people dislocated, injured and displaced from their place. So it was more an analysis saying that that's how probably would have been the best way to deal with it, if that makes sense.
Can't possibly still be going, Diego. Do you do anything with your time in life? 7 days? There's such as 7 days. I'm recording over 150 hours and fucking wasting your
we
time.
should just as a nation.
Hello!
Which I don't agree with. I don't agree with.
So in America, it's different. So you guys have that, right? So in America, if there is an attempt,
This is X Spaces.
let's say there's an attempt to overthrow the U.S. government, would you just allow them to do it?
Well, when you have foreign countries
with the insurrection on J6, then what happens?
In the streets, and they're definitely having external influence. Would it not be in your same logic that you would just crush them because they're causing discord and possible chances to overthrow the government?
Matt, I missed the first bit. Say again.
Wouldn't you say that when protests happen in America, which many of them do have external forces and external people in them, that we would at the same time, with your same logic, then just say we just need to crush them and shut them down? When you stand up and say we have to keep these rights to protest in America, but when they're in a Muslim country, you yourself say if you were in control, you would just crush it and shut it down.
Yeah, so you missed two important points. First of all, like Western society is different to these type of countries. This is why I prefer Western society. It's completely different. But the second thing is
who runs the country and who's running the discourse and the problems.
But the second thing is it's about if I was the president, I'll answer your question. So if I was the president of the United States of America,
and you'll see how anti-Israel.
If I was the president of the United States of America and there was an attempt to overthrow the U.S. government, a rebellion, a color revolution, and they were basically trying to overthrow the government, yes, I would crush the protest. I would crush the rebellion. I would crush the rebellion because that's literally what you do. You saw a very minor example of that on Jan 6th. The claim is, I don't believe it to be true, but the claim was that they were doing an insurrection. Let's say there was a real insurrection. Let's say there was a real attempt to overthrow the U.S. government. You can either allow it to happen and let your country be overthrown, or you crush it. So I believe in that scenario, you got to crush it.
And you don't think that the giant protests all over American cities, even though I'm for and against the Israel takeover and may agree with, there's no nuance that you can't agree with. It's like you can't be anti-Israel and also be questioning Candace, but you can't. Everyone has to be on one side or the other. There's literally no nuance. You can't say, hey, I think there's a problem with external forces causing protests in America, which are causing serious problems and could possibly lead to overthrows now or in the future that could be crushed, that you think have to have the right to stand.
Okay, no. This is a problem, you see, because this is a very important distinction. It's about direct or not direct. This is like the idea of free speech. If there's someone directly incites violence, I think we all agree that that person should be incarcerated. But for example, if someone says something indirectly, which then people could probably argue that may lead to violence, that should not be something that's stopped. So you're talking about direct and indirect. So no, if someone does protests,
that government or anything like that they weren't doing that. You're saying that the pro-Palestine protests weren't like outside the White House and weren't like acting in the way of a color revolution, at least from a...
No, they weren't. How were they trying to overthrow the president of the United States of America? They weren't doing that.
Well, they were calling for him to be taken out. There was people calling for him to be murdered. I mean, come on.
Nah, nobody was trying to
At the
do
Palestinians?
that. And nobody was trying... Yeah. Sorry?
No. Oh, I'm so sorry, Solomon. At the Palestinian protests, you're saying that? I want to make sure
what he's
that
trying
was
to
clear.
say. Yeah.
Okay, so as a Palestinian, if it's okay, I'm sorry.
Matt, every time you talk over someone, you just sound muffled.
You kill
No one
us.
can hear you. You're
All right,
killing the listen.
Decorations. If you guys want to ask me one more question before I go, so you don't say I ran away or something, then go ahead.
Sorry, Solomon, I interrupted you, but
No,
as
go ahead,
somebody
Didi.
that's been to those.
I think you wanted to push back on the Palestinian protests, so go ahead.
100%. If you're saying that the Palestinian protests, we were calling for Donald Trump or any president of the United States to be killed, I would really love to know which protests you've been at. I've been to ones in New York. I've been to ones in DC. I've been to ones in California. I've been to one with several. Okay, so I'm really, I don't want to say 100, I want to say at least 3 dozen at a minimum. So and by the way, that also includes college campuses. So I'm happy to take those questions too from my alma mater, which is Columbia. So I'd love to know where you saw that or how, because I will be the first person to come out against that. And I would venture to guess that 80% of the people that are actually at those protests also would come out against that, because that's not what we're about. We're not about violence. You guys hear me? Nobody here?
Yeah.
Okay, good. But we're not about violence. We're about, hold on, Matt, please, 1 second, please. We're not about violence. We're not about violence. This movement is not about violence. It is about human rights. It is about the right to life.
Free Palestine, I agree, 100%.
Yeah, but where have you ever seen that, brother? Where have you ever seen that the Palestinian protests have ever said to kill Donald Trump?
I've seen them talk about deposing him. I've seen them talk about taking over the country. I mean, there's individual weirdos that say bullshit that anybody could point to. I'm just saying. I mean, if you want me to really find one, I'm sure I can.
But
I'd love to see it, because
that's not a colour revolution. That's not a foreign intervention to overthrow the government. You're talking about a sad, loon probably that wants that. You can find that in every country. When Biden was in power, Suleiman literally went over to America and went to those student encampments, and you could probably find the footage because he interviewed the students there. All right, he went to quite a few, and they were all about peace. And this was under Biden. It's not even about Trump. And all they wanted was stop funding Israel and stop our taxes going to kill children. Now, if you want to go across America and find one loon that says, I want Trump gone or I want this, that's not a color revolution. That's not what happened in Syria. Syria's been destroyed. You literally put a 10 million bounty on a terrorist and then took it off and welcomed him in the White House with a red carpet. Do you want any more evidence that it was by the West that they destroyed that country? And you know what? When I get American and British people complain about, the Syrians that are coming into our country, call out what we did in Syria first, because we did that. We destroyed their country. We don't want those migrants, but you know what? Hold our governments to account. So when Harrison comes up here and talks about, the Muslims are taking over, first call out our governments for what they do in these foreign lands. Because Syria didn't have to happen. We did it for Israel. Israel now does tours. Israel does tours in Syria and says, this is our land. We've got Israeli tours. You can go to this area. Or in fact, we're going to extend from Golan Heights even further in. We're going to put new boundaries in place. I mean, what the hell is going on, Matt?
No, I agree. I'm just saying that random people and foreign intervention can be used, and individuals can be used as poster children for every single thing to turn us against one another. And like someone said before, at the same time, the AI takeover is happening. Palantir is taking over, and we're all sitting around worrying about Egyptian planes and arguing about Ian Carroll and Candace Owens. And I love you guys. I love Harrison Smith, and I love this country, and I love the Muslim people. I'm just saying, everyone has their own, dog in the fight, and there's a lot of foreign influence around the houses on every angle. And if any single protest can be said to have a foreign influence, then Suleiman would just say, just shut it down. I'm not going to go on about it because I love Suleiman and he's a fucking G, and I'm not trying to fight with you guys.
You're misstating what I said. Either you're misunderstanding or misstating. So I don't know if it's a lack of understanding. Do you know what a color revolution is?
Well, it's when you get a group of people in the streets all waving a specific flag to have a specific overthrow. Okay,
let me make it easy for you. Would you know what an insurrection is?
on the National Field Program.
I was just going to bring that up. Matt, what you're saying, it reminds me of how everybody was accusing Trump for inciting an insurrection. He wasn't, right? I'm sure you're aware that he wasn't inciting an insurrection.
Like, bro, come on. I'm just trying to keep everybody on the straight and narrow here.
No, but Matt, do you know what insurrection is?
Focused on Turning Point USA.
Yeah, overthrow the government.
Becoming more
A rebellion to overthrow the government. If there was an insurrection against a government that you're in charge of, what would you do?
Company-wide metrics and goals.
Oh, well, the theory is, yeah, you would squash it. But I just noticed the way you said it on your
expanded role. Please join me in congratulating Justin on this new role with the organization. As always, thank you for everything each of you do for Turning Point USA. Now, let's get back to work and save America. Thank you. Signed, Charlie Kirk, founder and CEO. This is a week before he died.
And isn't that the position that Tyler Boyers?
No, hold on. Damn it, Noxie. Really?
Noxie, best co-host of 2025.
Oh my God. Completely lost my train of thought.
You were reading.
Well, that sounds like
as you guys aren't going to derail my space. Bottom right corner, everybody, please repost the space. As CEO, right? Why isn't she out here talking about this? I think it's awfully convenient that the Justice Department sends out a memo to Erica Kirk saying that Turning Point will not be investigated for financial wrongdoing, right? That she's playing ball. But on the same note, we have this letter from Charlie Kirk saying that he wanted Doge to make it more efficient and look at the financials, and then a week later he's dead. Why isn't she addressing that, right? The reason why they look so suspect is because there's all of these glaring things. The Israel text message, the Doge letter, right? All within a week of his demise, his assassination, and none of it's being addressed. Instead, they are gaslighting us about Tyler Robinson before he's had his trial, and then telling anybody who asks questions about these things that they are evil if they ask these questions, right? Why is that? She's CEO. She should be answering about Doge. Did this get carried out? What were the findings, right? That letter is up in the Jumbotron. You can respond now, Noxie. I wasn't ready yet.
No, you're fine. I'm sorry I interrupted. But no, I was thinking that Tyler Boyer was actually the COO, and then he was put down, and then this other guy was put up.
I don't know.
Yes,
I
that is what
Tyler
happened.
Boyer was Turning Point Action, I thought.
No, I think he got moved to Turning Point Action and was removed as the COO, and then this guy took over.
All right, go ahead, Timmy.
So that's really interesting because there were 4 different entities that were created around Turning Point, and Charlie Kirk might not have been aware of all of them. And one of them, Tyler Bowden, moved $8 million to. The average salary over a 6-month period for each one of the people was like $365,000 is what it was estimated at. And then there were a couple of interesting payments that were made that anybody that was performing due diligence would have at least looked and seen if there was a physical address. And there was this one of the payments was made to 110 LLC.
Yeah, and they were saying that it was a parking lot, but it really isn't a parking lot. It's actually the UPS store that's there that has a P.O. box. So it's a P.O. box address. People are got all up in arms about that, but having a P.O. box is actually very common.
Yes, it is, but not for necessarily movements of that amount of money. Those are usually places that you would send that to your accountant, you would send that to your lawyer, or I worked for a couple of wealthy families that would have had bad credit if it wasn't for us. We literally opened their mail We paid their bills. We did everything. When you're getting to a money of a certain size and amount, you're not sending stuff to a PO box.
That's an interesting point. That's an interesting point. Yeah, it seems like why wouldn't it be to one of their offices? They have plenty of offices, real offices. That's a good point. That's a good point. Let's go to Slick Dog. Go ahead.
Hey, Diligent, can you read that last part of the sentence in that letter on company culture?
Yeah, it says, okay, I'll read you want me to read
just like the last half, that last sentence.
Well, I'll just read, in this role, I have empowered Justin, among many other priorities, to engage in an organizational-wide Doge effort. Justin will be assembling a small team to assist in this effort, which is focused on Turning Point USA. 1, becoming more efficient. 2, becoming more cost-effective. 3, unifying organizational success around company-wide metrics and goals. And 4, reshaping company culture.
Could reshaping company culture have been leaving the pro-Israeli cause?
It very well could have been. Yeah.
That's what I thought when I first read that letter. So that's just something to think about. Is that
so who is this? Is this guy still their CEO? COO?
I don't know.
Can somebody, listeners or anyone on the panel?
That would be another question that we may not get the answer to. But company culture. I mean, I worked in the area of compliance, and company culture is important. And shifting company culture is difficult. And I don't have the letter in front of me, but it was 4 points: 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's its own.
Yeah, it was a mandate. It was a mandate outside of the COO role. It was in that Doge paragraph.
Yeah,
and all of those things were in there.
Yeah. Briefly, in terms of the virtue signaling by Erica and the timing of it with the book and trying to have Candace in person next week, I'm more with in the Nazi camp that it tactically, strategically for Candace. Tactically for Candace, she made that statement long ago that she would stop if Erica tells her. And it is better that she start that break this week rather than, at whatever they have. It's the 15th, right? They're doing the show where Erica's there, looks in the camera and says, Candace, please stop. So I think tactically it's better that.
So, you think this is the last week of Candace doing this? I don't think so.
No, I don't either. I'd say that's why.
You think that? Oh, wait. Are you saying that Candace is flipping that previous commitment on its head right now?
I think she's using this as an opportunity to make a break from that commitment. The one quote from Star Wars.
I hadn't considered that.
Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader, I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate that you used the villain, but I get it.
It would be very difficult if you could imagine either whether she streamed, whether she was physically present or not present at all. If they have that event, and Erica gets to it first and says, "Candace, you said you'd stop if I asked you to stop. Well, I'm asking you to stop right now." So it's better that Candace get out ahead and start.
That's a good point. Yeah, that is a good point, because I think that you can see that they're leading up to that. So yeah, you're right.
That's all I got.
Yep. Oh, good. That's a valid point. Let's go to Effing. Go ahead.
Hey, Diligent Noxie. Hey, what's the most valuable thing about Turning Point? In my opinion, maybe you were searching for this, Diligent. It's the vote.
the power they have. I mean, that was Charlie. He won the election pretty much for Trump. You got the 2028 coming up, or 2026 coming up, the midterm. Every time I show, screw the money. And maybe from the political side of it. That's why they're getting all these people, the influencers, to say, to go against candidates.
It's definitely one of the factors, right? Because it's an extremely influential organization.
But as the CEO, if Eric did not miss the boat, here's Candace, Charlie's friend, went to #1 podcast just by talking about this. If she would have gone and sat beside her and said, "Hey, let's figure this out," oh my God, the party would not be split right now. Everybody would be together, right? So it kind of makes me think she's culpable. There's something really stinking going on. Why wouldn't she? I mean, she was her friend. She was Charlie's friend. Why would his wife, push that away? Why not embrace that? Candace is a journalist, a reporter. She's trying to get to the bottom of it.
Not only that, she was a great friend of Charlie's. It is a miss. Again, I've been saying this all along. They have shot themselves in the foot, right?
They're thinking. And how would it have turned out? How would it have turned out if she had gone the other way and gone and embraced Candace, saying, "Hey, let's figure this out. Go," and gave her her blessing. Then think how this would be going right now. TPU. I don't think TP would be sinking. They would be. We wouldn't be divided. I don't think we would be divided.
Well, I don't know.
If we'd had Erica's blessing.
I think that TPUSA was not as establishment. Well, maybe it was. I think that TPUSA, it can be a well-funded machine, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be attractive to the youth like it was without him. And instead of trying to...
It died with Charlie.
The allure definitely died with Charlie. And I think what they're saying, it seems like what I kind of sense here is that they're like, well, we don't need your approval. We don't need to be popular with you because, they're going to Mar-a-Lago and they're in with the establishment and they're getting money from the establishment. And there's an elitist mentality to it, right? It has this elitist vibe.
Yeah. The establishment doesn't vote. I mean, they do, but the Charlie brought the young vote, the college vote. Remember when it was before, when he would go to the colleges, all the leftists would be all against him. There at the end, there would be a leftist up there and being booed.
Good point. I mean, they could have definitely. And this is what makes them look so suspect.
I'm a speaker.
Again, they shot themselves in the foot. Not just Candace, but anybody.
This is called diligent denizen. You might like it. I know Princessia can't let go of your disentangled relationship, but maybe you guys want to hear something new as opposed to self-stalking all day long.
Why are they not arm in arm with us asking fucking questions? Why is that? That is what makes them look suspect, right? Why would you not want to? Why are you not curious? Where is your curiosity? Oh, well, we know because the government told us. Candace was right to invoke COVID-19. It is the same shit. They are telling you to trust the institutions, right? Erica said it today on Fox. She said, "I trust the judicial system." That's what she said. I trust the judicial system. And she even stuttered when she said it. I don't know if else caught that. It was almost like she couldn't actually get it out smoothly, right? She stuttered a little bit. And I just, you're absolutely right.
It sunk Tim Pool in a matter of days. He's about to